Get up and walk it off, son. You don't want him cutting on ya. Those knives have seen more to use than a 5 fingers, madam. Lower the rock bottom to an injured sea dog.
Creeb Killingsworth's skill with knives is useful in his role as both ship's cook and surgeon. Doc's patients do not share his enthusiasm for his practice of medicine, and often the mere threat of his quote-unquote treatments convinces them to fight on. Doc has variously claimed to be an Arjun from nearby Mercier, a Moradane from Corvus, a Cenari from Five Fingers, and even a quote-unquote Black Todoran from Breck, though none amongst the Orc crew have ever heard of such a race. Though rarely on the front lines, this enthusiastic scrapper has accumulated a rather impressive tally of kills. Clad in his blood-spattered apron, brandishing an enormous meat cleaver, and accompanied by the metallic clanking of his ever-present knives, Doc is an unnerving sight aboard ship for friend and foe alike. He has honed his skills at throwing knives by hurling cutlery at ship rats, and anyone on the receiving end of those filthy instruments of his often suffers terribly from the thick film of gore, spices, and foul sauces that adorn them. Sailors accept unusual meals as part of the job, and most have a pragmatic attitude towards the food that they're served. Given Creeb's perchance for rat hunting, few but the freshest swabs even blink at the presence of these critters in Doc's ever-simmering galley stew. If one trusts the testimony of his shipmates, Doc puts on a surprisingly tasty spread, whatever its ingredients. Even the officers aboard the Talon prefer not to ask any questions, both because they don't really want to know where the meat comes from, and because they don't want to risk getting under Creeb's notoriously thin skin. More vital to the crew is Doc's role in stitching up the injured, a task that elicits his basis of enthusiasm. Lacking any real formal training in anatomy or surgery, he came by his skills throughout years of bloody practice, claiming that cutting apart meat and men are similar enough. He relishes immersing his arms in gore up to his elbows while chomping gleefully on a lit cigar. Though his brand of self-taught surgery makes the men uneasy, Captain Shea and his officers trust Doc to know his business. Doc has saved the lives of nearly every officer on board the Talon at least once, his disregard for cleanliness notwithstanding. These include Joan Rockbottom, whom Doc saved from a painful death after removing his gangrenous left leg just before the infamous mutiny aboard the MLS Exeter. Many crew members have similarly lost fingers, hands, feet, eyes, or even entire arms, and yet survived to tell of their terrifying time in Doc's care. Crewmen have also seen Doc carve up enemies during battle and stuff choice morsels into his pockets. Though no one can confirm that Doc's soups contain human remains, few would put it past him. Just to be sure, however, many veteran salts stick to stale bread directly after a large melee to avoid one of the meat dishes that Killingsworth somehow cobbles together.
Talon stew. Recipe. Serves about 100. 15 pounds of fresh meat, any kind. 10 pounds aged peppered meat, any kind. Remove maggots. 5 cups olive oil, butter, bacon grease, or lard. 20 cloves of garlic. 1 barrel meat stock or stew pot leavings. 2 fistfuls dried spices and or leaves. 1 sack chopped potatoes. 1 sack chopped onions. Half sack chopped carrots, tomatoes, or other vegetables not rotted through. Mold, okay? Top pot with weak ale or cheap wine. Not 5 fingers water, damn it. Cook at least 12 hours. Keep indefinitely over low fire.